Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Greg Sloop, and it's time for Live at 5 on this Monday, June 24th, 2024. Hope you're having a great day. It's been a hot and sunny day here in Kannapolis, North Carolina. I took a little time this morning to go help raise some money for Teen and Adult Challenge. We raised some money through a golf tournament this morning. So that's why I got my cap on. Sorry about that. But we're glad to see you today for Live at 5. We're continuing our look at well known and important scriptures and stories in the Old Testament. Today we're up to Genesis chapter 41, beginning with verse 37. This is the aftermath of Joseph being the dream interpreter for Pharaoh. God used Joseph to interpret the dreams that Pharaoh had and to give him solutions for the famine that was about to follow. 7 years of plenty. There's going to be 7 years of famine. He interprets the dreams for Pharaoh, and now Pharaoh is putting him in charge of everything. Joseph rises to power in this moment in Genesis 41, beginning in verse 37. Let's look at the passage and break it down just a little at a time. Genesis 41:37 starts like this. So the advice was good in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of all his servants. And Pharaoh said to his servants, can we find such a one as this, a man in whom is the Spirit of God? So Pharaoh automatically sees the value in Joseph. He sees that he needs a man like Joseph in his government, in his leadership structure. Verse 39, Pharaoh said to Joseph, inasmuch as God has shown you all this, and there is no one as discerning and wise as you, you shall be over my house, or in charge of my house, and all my people shall be ruled according to your word. Only in regarding to the throne will I be greater than you. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, see, I have set you over all the land of Egypt. Oh my goodness, in a moment, Joseph goes from being the hated brother and a slave in the service of Midianite traders and a servant in the house of Potiphar, who was then lied on and chased by a lecherous woman and thrown into prison. He's gone from all these negative things that have been placed into his life. He's gone from the disfavor through the slavery, through the prison sentence, and now in a moment, God has turned all of this for his favor. God has turned every bit of the trouble and the pain and the suffering that he's been through, the waiting, the patience, the 2 years after he had interpreted dreams for the butler, before the butler finally remembered Joseph. And now he is told, I am putting you over my house. This is by Pharaoh. I'm putting you over my house, and all my people shall be ruled according to your words. See, I have set you over all the land of Egypt in a moment. That's how God is. God can change your circumstance in a moment. Let's continue on with verse 42. Then Pharaoh took his signet ring off of his hand and put it on Joseph's hand. And he clothed him in garments of fine linen and put a gold chain around his neck. All of these are signs of royalty. And he had him ride in the second chariot which he had. And they cried out before him, that not just Pharaoh, but for Joseph as well, bow the knee. So he set him over all the land of Egypt. Pharaoh also said to Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without your consent, no man may lift his hand or foot in all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zaphnath Paaneah, which probably is Egyptian for God speaks and he lives. And he gave him a wife, gave him as a wife Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On. So Joseph went out over all the land of Egypt. What a difference a day makes. Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went throughout all the land of Egypt. Now, in the 7 plentiful years, the ground brought forth abundantly by the handfuls. So he gathered up all the food of the 7 years which were in the land of Egypt, and laid up the food in the cities. He laid up in every city the food of the fields which surrounded them. Joseph gathered very much grain, as the sand of the sea, until he stopped counting, for it was immeasurable. That's how much God was blessing Egypt during the time that Joseph predicted God's favor. And to Joseph were born two sons before the years of famine came, whom Asenath, the daughter of Potipherah, priest of On, bore to him. Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh, which literally means making forgetful, for God has made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. And the name of the second he called Ephraim, or fruitfulness, for God has caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. Verse 53. Then the 7 years of plenty which were in the land of Egypt ended, and the 7 years of famine began to come, as Joseph had said. The famine was in all lands, but in all the land of Egypt there was bread. Wow. I want to be known as a man like Joseph, that even when there's famine all around, if you're where I am, then there's going to be bread. Not because I'm great, but because God has chosen to bless others through me. That's what I want to be. I want to be a blessing to others. I want to be a blessing when others are in need, that I can help them find what they need. I want to be a blessing so that when they're hungry, I can help them find food. When they're lost, I can help them find where they need to be. When they don't know Jesus Christ, I can show them Jesus Christ and they can be saved. I want to be like Joseph. He's a hero of mine, if you will. He went through so much adversity and so much pain and so much loss. And yet, as I said, in a moment, God changed his entire existence. Let's continue on. So when all the land of Egypt was famished, the people cried to Pharaoh for bread. Then Pharaoh said to all the Egyptians, "Go to Joseph. Whatever he says to you, do." The famine was over all the face of the earth, and Joseph opened up all the storehouses, or all that was in them, and sold to the Egyptians. And the famine became severe in the land of Egypt. So all countries came to Joseph in Egypt to buy grain, because the famine was severe in all lands. Be someone that is a solution giver, a problem solver. Be someone that can point people to the source. Joseph was able to show them the source in Egypt. Joseph was able to help them not starve. He was shrewd, not sly necessarily, but shrewd, and he knew how to make Pharaoh even stronger by selling this grain that they had stored up for years, 7 years of plenty, to last through the 7 years of famine. What a great and wonderful thing God brought about through Joseph, and he can do the same through you. I said a few moments ago, Joseph's my hero. I want to be like Joseph. I want people to be blessed when they're in my presence. I want them to be able to find the blessings of God, the favor of God, because God is helping me to help them. And I hope that's your goal and your desire as well. God, make me a Joseph. Make me someone that can help people find what they have need of when it doesn't seem like anybody's got it. Lord, help me to help them find what they need in you. And that's the word for today. Thank you for being on with us. Several of you, looks like Richard Britt, Sharon Noblet, Jean Goodman, Cordia Tackett, excuse me, Kathleen Powlis, Vicky Adkins. A lot of you on with us today. Thanks so much for taking the time to be with us. And whether you watch us at 5 o'clock each day, Sunday through Friday, or whether you watch us some other time of the day or night, whatever time of day or night you're here, we are glad to have you with us. And it's our honor to bring this little short Bible study to you each day, Sunday through Friday. Thanks again for being here. Spend some time with God every day in the Word of God and prayer. It's the best thing you'll do, and it'll help you to understand that the problem you're going through today may just be taking you to the place where God is going to bring about your blessing and the blessing of others. Let it be so. It's the best thing you'll do all day. Take that time with God. Please know we love you and we're praying for you, and I look forward to seeing each